on your platter a mountain of beef for it is eating and drinking that bring us relief. So fill up your glass, for life will soon pass. When you're dead, you'll never drink to your king or your ass. An Acreon had a red nose, so they say, but what's a red nose if you're happy and gay? God split me, I'd rather be red whilst on here than white as a lily and dead half a year. So Betty, my miss, come give me a kiss. In hell there's no innkeeper's daughter like this. Young Harry propped up just as straight as he's able will soon lose his wig and slip under the table. But fill up your goblets and pass them around, better under the table and under the ground. So revel and chaff as you thirstily quail under 6 feet of dirt, just let easy to laugh. Let fiends drag me blue and scarce able to walk, and damn it if I can't stand upright or choke. Hell, I'm not been better than some on a chair. I'll try hope for a while, for my wagon's not there. So lend me a hand, I'm not able to stand, but suck gay whilst I linger on top of the land.
I spent both in coffee, candy and chocolate one style. The ice cream in every variety.
Hey, fam. This is Rudimentary Peni. Rudimentary Peni from the Cacophony album.
When it first did help to ruin itself. Now these princes are come home again, come the three corners of the world in arms, and we shall shock them, naught shall make us rue.
So, we're going to be taking a look at 3 different videos on Pablo Hasel, and capitalist, imperialist, fascist fucking targeting of what seems to be an otherwise righteous anti-fascist rapper from Spain. Got a few clips picked out to help us go through it. Like I said, we're listening to Rudimentary Peni. The artist you're looking at is Greg Simpkins. You can find his channel, Greg Simpkins Art, on YouTube. We'll listen to maybe one more track of this here Rudimentary Peni, and then we'll check out the stuff about Pablo Hasel.
All he does is the dark. I'm not king I'm sure. Lazy long nose, I don't think. Try down that English. They ain't me no stuff.
It's called The Great Gnashing of Teeth. That's the actual title of that track. But we'll hold on to Greg Simpkins Art here. Remember, we're at 2 minutes 32 seconds, and let's go ahead and jump over here. Skip this ad here. So before I play the video,
Spanish police stormed a university.
Hold on. I want to read the titles. I mean, not the titles, but the description that they have here. Obviously from Reuters. Very short description. Spanish police have arrested rapper who barricaded himself inside a university building. Pablo Hasel had been sentenced to jail time on charges including insulting the monarchy and praising terrorist groups. And we'll see as we go through these clips just how loosely the term terrorist gets thrown around in relation to the absolute fucking bullshit targeting of the free speech of an artist from Spain. So here we go.
Spanish police stormed a university on Tuesday to arrest a rapper who'd barricaded himself inside over a free speech case that has gripped the country. Pablo Hasel had been sentenced to 9 months in jail, originally handed down in 2018, on charges of glorifying terrorism and insulting royalty in his songs. He missed a deadline of last Friday to hand himself in to police. The sentence has caused uproar in Spain and led to the government to announce it would make free speech laws less restrictive. The rapper took refuge in a university building in northeastern Spain with a group of supporters. Chairs were thrown and fire extinguishers were emptied as police wearing protective headgear and carrying guns reached Hasel. Known for his radical leftist views, Hasel was convicted over lyrics and tweets that included references to Basque separatist paramilitary group ETA, compared Spanish judges to Nazis, and called former King Juan Carlos a mafia boss.
Like, all of those things. Like, hold on, let's hear those again, because all of those things, like, really? Prison for this stuff.
Convicted over lyrics and tweets that included references to Basque separatist paramilitary group ETA, compared Spanish judges to Nazis, and called former King Juan Carlos a mafia boss.
So that, I mean, like, I support Basque separatists. Fuck the monarchy in Spain. Like, I don't know specifics about that ETA group that they mentioned, but, like, I do know that the Basque language is not Latin-based, that it's its own unique language that apparently predates the Romance languages, like Spanish and Italian and French and so on. And I'm just... But just saying that you support them and rapping about it and writing poems about it, like, what if you rapped about, like, I mean, there's people who write songs about, you know, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer. There's fucking grindcore shit out there where people are like, I fucking love Jeffrey Dahmer. I think that's abhorrent and gross, but really? We're going to give this person jail time. And again, even if you're going to convince yourself that Basque separatists or, you know, any other, you know, I don't know, you'll see later they talk about that he's in support of Maoist groups and communist groups. Like, even just being in support of that and advocating support of that does not then in turn inspire people to go out and do terrorist things and to do violence. And, like, you know, like you would see from all the rhetoric from the far right, from Trump and Fox and Newsmax and all the, you know, fashy fucking online talking heads over the last few years, right? That just culminated in all these different rallies of violence from Proud Boys and militias, and then like what we saw in the Capitol, you know, which is like kind of a culmination of all of it. So yeah, writing a poem about like Basque separatist issues or in favor of Mao Zedong is not going to result in people doing that shit. It might get people to roll out into the streets and demonstrate. But what's the threat? And it just seems so archaic that that it's also being charged with like talking shit on a monarchy. It's 2021. Fuck the Spanish monarchy. You know, anyway, we'll go back in and play with some more.
A clenched fist as he was led away, the rapper was heard shouting, quote, "You will never defeat us. You will never overcome us. We will resist until we are victorious."
Pablo!
More than 200 artists, including film director Pedro Almodovar and actor Javier Bardem, signed a petition against Hasel's jailing. Spain's government said last week in response to the case that it would reform the gag law enacted in 2015 to introduce milder penalties and target only actions generating a risk to public order or provoking violent conduct.
Okay, this next clip that's queuing up here, and it might have an ad. No, it doesn't. Hold on. I'll hold it. Pause it for a minute. And it's considerably louder. This is from NewsClick In, which is NewsClick India, who I only recently started following, and basically I subbed them and started looking at their content because they're being targeted by Modi's fascist regime in a very concerted way. And I suggest you go. A lot of their stuff is, I'm going to feel really bad if I'm wrong about this, but I believe the language spoken in India is predominantly Hindi. But They do have some in English as well, and then the indigenous language to India. But the channel has both. But I just thought I'd give you a little bit of sort of context and background for this outlet. I'm not super familiar with them, but so far what I've seen is they're just like essentially legit journalists, right? And Modi's a full-on fucking demagoguing fascist piece of shit, so he's targeting this outlet, so I thought I'd give him a sub. Maybe you should too. But this is their coverage. It's a minute and a half, but this is their coverage of what's going on with Pablo Hasel. So here we go.
For more videos on people's struggles, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So you know what? I'll go ahead and read it. Let's back it up a little bit, and I'll read that stuff for you. Hold on. That would kind of make sense, don't you think, fam? Massive mobilizations were held across Spain demanding the release of rapper and poet Pablo Hasel. Thousands of people marched in Barcelona holding a banner that read, "Freedom for Pablo Hasel." Mobilizations were also held in other cities, including Lida, and I didn't catch those. The police used batons to disperse the crowd and arrested more than 14 people. Hasel was arrested by the Catalan police on February 16 at the University of Lleida. In March 2018, Hasel was sentenced to a 2-year prison term and fined 24,000 euros. He appealed, but his conviction was recently approved by higher courts. Hasel, who was unwilling to surrender, locked himself inside the university and was guarded by his supporters. Hundreds of people mobilized around the University of Lleida in solidarity with him. He is being charged with glorifying terrorism, insulting the crown and state institutions. Hasel is known for his political songs and poems. They are often deemed critical of the Spanish authorities and the right wing in the country. Since 2011, Hasel has been accused in several cases, including for allegedly praising communist leaders and terrorist groups in his works and songs. Progressive sections in Spain around the world have denounced the persecution of Pablo Hasel by the state authorities. peoplesdispatch.org from NewsClick, Indiana. And then lastly, this is from, as you can see, Al Jazeera.
For a second night across Barcelona. Police stations, banks, and several stores are damaged during demonstrations. Thousands took to the streets to demand the release of Pablo Hasel from jail. The rapper's lyrics and tweets got him in hot water with the authorities after he insulted Spanish royalty, supported a now defunct extremist group, and criticized the police.
I'm a musician and it affects me. The fact that in Spain, artists, musicians, rappers, everyone is arrested. I find it quite brutal that people are arrested for the lyrics of a song.
Common sense tells me that I have to be here because we have less and less freedom in Spain.
On Monday, police stormed Lleida University, where Hasel had barricaded himself in with other activists to avoid a jail sentence. Hasel was taken away by police but remained defiant.
They will never make us give in, despite the repression.
Hasel's case has inspired support across the country. 200 prominent artists, actors and musicians signed a petition for his release. They say the so-called gag order prevents free speech. Spain's left-wing government has moved to change the law, but that's come too late for Hasel. Protesters here say they'll continue to raise their voices against the silencing of the outspoken rapper. Laura Bedden-Manley, Al Jazeera.
So there's the basic reporting, most up-to-date sort of reporting over the last couple days of what's going on with this. But you know, when they talk about, you hear like right-wingers and shit talking about how free speech is under attack and all this kind of shit. It's, first of all, they turn it into this vague notion of what free speech is, and what it is that's supposedly under attack, right? Let's be clear. What was the specific speech that Pablo is being attacked for? It's against the powers. It's against the current status quo power structure. It's not just that he said things that the state don't like. It's that clearly he said it in a way that made them nervous. And he's got a huge fan base. If you go to his channel, like I thought, I considered playing some of his music, but I'd probably get dinged for copyright because he's got a good solid following, and good for him, right? Go check out his channel and enjoy his music. But when the right comes out and says, our free speech is under attack and all this garbage, what free speech? And when you press them, especially as I have and others have numerous times on the street, especially like at rallies and shit, like, what is your free speech? What is it you want? USA, America, less government, don't tax me. I love some weird terrorist version of Jesus. And again, the state throughout the last 4 or 5 years, and it's a longer history, but like clearly under the Trump administration, all of this rollout of street fascism that we saw, the state liked that they were saying, of course, USA and all this stuff, even though when they turned on them and it refocused off of us, anti-fascists, and then of course, and also BLM activists and trans activists, which is who these groups were targeting over the last 5 years primarily. And then when they switched it over to focus it against the state and they attacked the Capitol, that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Like the capitalist imperialist bosses in this country, in America, got a glimpse of how far they can get these stochastic terrorists to go, how far they can push them, which is completely all the way. As we saw. But what you'll never hear any of these hardcore people who attacked the U.S. Capitol for their free speechisms do is defend someone like Pablo Hasel. And that should tell you essentially all you need to know about what their motivations are and what free speech is to them. Clearly in more ways than, everybody cares about their free speech. They want to be able to have free speech. Give me a break, right? But what does that really mean in real time? And what type of free speech are you actually willing to even protect? And are you willing to recognize that there is, in fact, speech that's definitely under attack, and it's under attack all over the globe? It's not a U.S. problem. It's not a European problem. It's not even just a Spanish problem. Big ups to literally all comrades and anti-fascists and leftists that are fighting hard in Spain. Much appreciate y'all. Big ups. Do what you can. Look into the there's all kinds of ways you can learn more about Pablo Hasel. You just start Googling it and start finding the resources. Check out his channel, sub to his shit. Again, this is Greg Simpkins Art. Over here, what I have queued up is Born Against. Cover of Riding with Mary, which is an X tune.
Saints of Eastern for